Whole Foods daily shops will not feature Amazon Just Walk Out technology. According to Grocery Dive again, Christina Minardi, Executive Vice President of Growth and Development for Whole Foods and Amazon, said during a store tour ahead of the opening day of the first daily shop, it isn't suitable for a retail space that frequently changes and rotates displays. Minardi reportedly said that the technology was, quote, cumbersome, end quote, and that, quote, if you have a bin of tomatoes and you want to all of a sudden just build some mozzarella on an ice bin and you can't because that has to be mapped to the cameras and it takes weeks, end quote. That's not very flexible, Chris.
No.
What does this news signal, do you believe? Is it the death knell of Just Walk Out deployments within grocery? Bum, bum, bum.
Oh, man. And I think it might. And kudos to the Grocery Dive team for getting that quote. I mean, that's kind of really salacious. Like the whole system is cumbersome.
It's not great.
For lack of a better word.
Not great.
So I think it does potentially signal the end here. You know, we've already talked about two other options on this show that from the retailer and the CPG perspective give you the same level of insight that Amazon's Just Walk Out technology does. We haven't even brought robotics into the discussion yet on the inventory side of things, which is much cheaper to deploy than a fixed position camera system as well, like Schnucks is using, and BJ's and other grocers are starting to get on the trend with that too. So at the end of the day, the idea of being able to just walk out of the store as the selling point or as the differentiation point against all these other technological options doesn't seem like it stacks up to me anymore.
Yeah, it's a big bummer too, I think, from my perspective, because especially in these daily shops, like they're meant to be like just a leg up on Amazon Go shops. You know, it is a place where you would want this technology to work because it's that quick in and out trip. You're just doing, top up shopping throughout the week on the way to or from work or whatnot. But I think the issue for me here is that, yes, it's going to be a difficult road ahead for them to sell this technology to other grocers, especially when more grocers are trying to look for flexibility like you were talking about, and Scan and Go and carts provide that. I think that it doesn't mean it's not going to work. I just think where we are currently, Amazon's engineering teams have a lot of work, of experimentation, and there has to be a lot of reduction in hardware costs as well, compute costs as well, to make this what they want it to be.
Yeah, and it just fundamentally has to work so different than it does
and
now
what's the
to
road
get to that point?
What's the runway for that?
And as an aside too, because we have time, the show's running pretty fast. Like, what is Amazon's grocery strategy? Did you understand it yesterday when Claire Peters talked about it on stage? Because I left more confused than I was going into that session.
Yeah, there was not a clear answer to that. She definitely outlined all of the places and things that you can do in an Amazon store, like returning packages.
Right.
You can get delivery, but there's still a cost for that. And I think that's the other part of this too that wasn't addressed yesterday, is that yes, you have Prime, but it's an extra charge,
right?
An extra monthly charge for Prime members to get some of those to get access to the grocery discount. And all in all, to me, it's still easier to go to a mass merchant like a Walmart and get all of those things done in one spot and on a timeline that suits me.
It's definitely cheaper right now,
right?
I'm a big fan of logic chains, right? I always drive you crazy. I just didn't understand.
I mean, you always drive me crazy, not specifically related to logic chains all the time, but yes.
One of the factors, right?
Yes.
But yeah, the logic chain just didn't make sense to me. Like, she was up on stage saying, like, grocery shopping has gotten so difficult in the last 20 years. And I was like, really? Has it? It feels like we have all these options that make it so much simpler and in the flow of our lives. So that's number one. And then number two, she also said something to the effect of, like, people go to 5 or 6 grocery stores, on a weekend, and we want to simplify that. And I'm like, but wait, you're opening up another physical store for them to go into? Like, I just don't get it. It doesn't stack up. But anyway.